Now in this clip, we're going to add some ice cube elements to help sell the overall scene a little bit more. And because I don't just want the can to falling in just water, I want it to be falling into ice water. And we're going to have a handful of different ice cubes in different positions and different angles and such like that. Now, it would take a long time if we took one image of an ice cube and then brought it in, we duplicate the layer and rotate it. That is certainly one way of achieving this. An easier way, especially with the ice cube, because it's just white highlighted elements, is turning it into a brush. So we're actually going to make a brush out of an ice cube image and then implement that into our design just by painting the cubes in the scene. It's a really cool trick. I'm going to go to the File menu and go to Open. I'm going to go into the Project Assets folder and locate an image called Ice Cube. And go ahead and open that up. And here you'll see it's just a simple ice cube element on a white background with a reflection. Now the first thing is we need to get rid of that reflection. We don't need it. So go over here in your toolbar and select the lasso tool. And you're just going to draw a selection. Just start by going along the bottom edge of the ice cube itself, and then just circle around and contain the reflection. Now I'm going to go ahead and press Command Delete. Since white is set as my background color in the toolbar, I'm just going to press Command Delete, and it's going to go ahead and fill that area with white. Let's go ahead and deselect, press Command or Control D, and there we have our ice cube alone on the white background. Now the next thing I'm going to do is actually remove the color information of the ice cube. We've got some subtle blue areas in here. We don't need that. So I'm going to press Shift Command U, and that's going to force it to black and white. Next thing I want to do is actually increase the contrast a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and press Command or Control L to bring up levels. And right in here, we're just going to go ahead and push the dark slider in just a little bit to around 15. And just darken up the darker areas a little bit more. You want to keep some gray area. You want to have some transparent areas in here. The white is actually going to be 100% transparent, but the gray areas will have some transparency, and then the darker areas will be 100%. So with that adjustment made, go ahead and click OK, and now we're ready to define the brush. You don't need to make a selection because, as I said, white will be totally ignored and be left transparent. So we're just going to go to the Edit menu. Go down here to Define Brush Preset, and we'll just call this Ice Cube 1. Click OK, and now our brush is defined. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this image here. Back in our working document, let's go into the Layers panel. Go ahead and create a new blank layer, and go into the toolbar, select the brush tool itself, and now it should automatically go ahead and select the brush you just defined. If it does not, just click on the menu here and go to the very bottom, and there you should see your newly defined brush. Now once we have that selected, I'm going to go over here, and it's obviously larger than my image here, so we need to size it down. And this is an interesting rule of thumb, is that you want to define your brushes bigger than you're probably going to use them. You can define more detail in it, and then just use your bracket keys to scale the brush down. So I'll get it right about there. As you can see the outline of the ice cube already, but I'm going to set my foreground color to white. So just press D, then X to set white as the foreground. And of course, make sure you're on your new blank layer here in the Layers panel, and just dab once, and you'll see the ice cube appear in the scene. And it looks very realistic because you can see the background through it, as you would expect to in an ice cube, and you just see the highlighted areas. However, if I just click and start painting now, I'm getting just very basic behavior of the brush going in one direction and one orientation. We need to randomize this so it looks a little bit more chaotic, like it's actually falling ice cubes here. I'm going to do a Command A and select all, and then hit Delete and get rid of what I've got in here. And let's open up the Brush Options panel. So go to the Window menu and choose Brush. Here you're going to go in and start in the Brush Tip Shape section, and let's increase the spacing to well over 150, just to kind of space them out a little bit more like that. And then you're going to go up here and activate Shape Dynamics, and go up here and just take the size jitter all the way up to 100%. Then you're going to go to the minimum diameter, and let's push that up to around 30, between 30 and 40. I'm going to put mine right at 40 actually. And then you're going to go down here to angle jitter. Let's take that all the way to 100%. You can see the randomization is starting to already, or how it's going to look here in the preview at the bottom here. I'm also going to go down here and activate Flip X and Flip Y jitter. This means that it will flip the graphic on those axes as you paint. So just making those changes, let's just kind of paint and see what we've got here. So we've got some good randomization. The orientation of the ice cubes there, and that looks really good. I'm going to size the brush down a little bit and think we're right on target there. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can click and hold and just kind of paint the cubes into the scene, or you can be very specific about it. In fact, I'm just going to dab a cube here, and I'm just clicking each time I dab here. And as I do that, you'll see that the brush orientation, rotation, and all those things change with every new instance. So you can really get surgical about where you put these random ice cubes here. So I'm just going to put a couple at the bottom here. Don't go too crazy. I'm just going to add a few and maybe put another one right here. Let's have another one maybe look like it's going behind the can there. And let's go ahead and put a layer mask on the layer. And I want to mask that part of the cube that's in front of the can here. I want to actually have it more like it's behind the can. So go in the layers panel and just command click on the 3D layer. You'll notice it loads the shape of the can as an active selection. So we'll go into the image here. Now I've already created the layer mask in this case, so let's select the layer mask on the ice cube layer. Go ahead and press Command Delete and fill that selected area with black. As you'll notice, as it does that, it hides that part of the ice cube and makes it look like it's behind the image there. There we go. And now one more thing to do here is, if you remember on the splash elements, we went in and used the smudge tool to add some subtle movement to the water droplets in the air. Why don't we do the same thing to the ice cubes? If we go and get that smudge tool, we can go in here and just, we don't even have to really smudge the entire ice cube. We can actually smudge parts of it. If I can just go in here and just kind of smear it in certain parts, you can have it kind of give the effect that it's falling through the air. Maybe there's particles in front of it. Just adds another sense of movement to the overall scene there. There we go. It looks pretty good. So that's just an option. You don't have to do the smudging part of it. It just adds a little bit more movement to it in a very interesting way. But just know that technique is there if you need it. So there you can see the difference with adding the cubes, and that looks really good. Now in the next clip, we're going to add one more brush element here, another custom brush effect I want to show you, and we're going to add some finer particle elements in here, because if you've got water splashing and ice cubes in here, you'd expect to see larger splashes like you're seeing, but you'd also expect to see a little bit more mist kind of coming out of the splashes as well. And that's what we're going to take a look at in the next clip.